I'm Richie Kotzen, and don't miss my interview on Estereofonica.
Hola amigos de Estereofonica, hoy tenemos una entrevista maravillosa a un artista grandes ligas, uno de los mayores referentes de la guitarra eléctrica, más que todo la Telecaster, uno de los mayores referentes del hard rock que ha sido parte de bandas como Poison, Mr. Big y ha trabajado con otros músicos como Mike Portnoy, como Billy Sheehan, Greg Howe, Stanley Clarke, en fin, estoy hablando del famosísimo guitarrista el señor Richie Kotzen. Mr. Kotzen, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Well, great. Let me tell you that it's a real pleasure for us at Estereofonica to share some few minutes talking to you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Well, knowing that you have been in the scene for more than 30 years, playing guitar and making fans all over the world, you see yourself and your career. What is that thing that fills you with joy the most in all this time?
Well, I love writing new music and recording it, and then being able to share it with people and have a group of people that are interested in hearing what I'm doing. I think it's great. In my desires or goals in life, I really wanted to just do my music and be able to only do that. Not have to do something else for the sake of survival. And so basically I've been fortunate and to be able to be in a place where I can create my music, write my songs, and share them with people and have a wonderful time doing it.
Great. 2020, what a wonderful way to celebrate 50 candles. Richie, 50 orbits around the sun, and you made a huge party and a 50-track album. But also, what a strange year. All the lockdown and the cancellation of all sorts of shows. Anyway, is there something that you would say that you had learned in this particular year?
Well, yeah, it was, completely unpredictable, unexpected, and, a terrible thing. Like you said, I finished a solo record, a 50-song album. We released that on my 50th birthday, which was February 3rd of last year. And right after the release of that, I went down to Turks and Caicos and recorded and finished this new Kotzen record. So I was able to get that record done before this whole, craziness broke loose. And so the intention was to go out on tour for 50 for 50. We had 4 continents worth of dates booked, including we were working out South America for that, and everything had to come down for everybody, and everybody put their dates down. Now, the only thing that I can say that was a positive thing was that the release date for the Kotzen record was always going to be March of 2021, and we had planned that because we both had dates that we were supposed to do. So the plan was going to be released in March, which we're doing, thankfully, and then we were going to tour in April. Now, obviously, we can't do that because no one's really touring yet, but at least the good news is that we were able to keep our release date for the Kotzen record, which I'm very excited about.
Yes, it's amazing, and yes, people, you heard well. Adrian Smith, guitarist of Iron Maiden, will be together with Richie Kotzen in an amazing album called Smith Kotzen that will see the light on March the 26th. 9 new songs. How came that idea, and how was the experience to consolidate this album?
Well, we've known each other for years, and we became friends like maybe, 7, 8 years ago. And whenever Adrian would come into town, we'd hang out. He's got a great house here in LA, and so we'd have like little get-togethers and little jam sessions with our friends. And one of these times, we decided to try and see if we could write together. We both had time off and just sitting around, so we came up with some ideas, and one thing led to another, and now we have this record. And For me, I've always been in a situation where I'm the only guitar player and I'm the lead singer and, writing the lyrics and everything, all that sort of stuff. And so this was really a nice shift for me to be able to have a partner in crime, so to speak, and someone where, I could bring an idea in and say, hey, look, I got this, I'm not sure where to go with it, and then he could take it, and do something with it. And we had a great collaboration. It was very easy, we get along well personally. I was very familiar with Adrian's tastes and styles and influences, and I grew up a massive fan of Iron Maiden. So it all just worked out, and it was very easy. I've been saying this is probably one of the easiest records I've ever made.
Richie, you have been involved in all kinds of projects where you were able to express your passion on blues, your speed on heavy metal, your skills on progressive, and your free playing sense on jazz. Is there any other type of music that you have not explored yet?
Oh, yeah. I've never been one of those guys that just kind of, I've never been much of an explorer that way. I have always been a person that has an idea and then I act on it. And so it's always been, people like yourself that will be able to say, oh, well, Richie's playing jazz fusion or Richie's playing glam rock or doing this or doing that. I don't necessarily think of it that way. I look at it like I've got, a concept, an idea for a song, and then I'll just work on it and bring it to light. Now, if that happens to sound more, jazz fusion-y, or if it sounds more R&B, or if it sounds more hard rock, well, that is what it is. I didn't really plan it that way, but I think that I have to say, you're a product of your environment. So for me, growing up outside of Philadelphia, I grew up listening to a lot of soul, R&B music. My first concert was Stevie Wonder, and then followed that was George Benson. But I also grew up listening to hard rock, like Maiden and Sabbath, and the first hard rock concert I went to was Iron Maiden. So, my influences somehow fall somewhere between the realm of, Iron Maiden all the way over to, Return to Forever or Mahavishnu Orchestra. So, I kind of have that pendulum swing. Now, for some guys, it's different. They don't get into the soul and R&B stuff, but then they get into country music, and then they have that influence. But I'm just kind of a product of what I listened to over the years and where I grew up, and however they define what I write, that's not for me to worry about.
Okay. Richie, you said that one of the bands that you heard and had some influence when you were starting playing was Iron Maiden. And how was that experience working with Adrian Smith?
Yeah, well, that's been it's amazing. I said this to somebody the other day, and I got this album sitting here on my desk. They sent me a couple advanced copies, just to have for posterity's sake, whatever you want to call it. But I have it sitting there, and I look at that, and I see his name on there and my name. It's pretty surreal. It's great. It's really a great opportunity, and I'm really proud of the record. Beyond the fact that Adrian is in a band that is a band that's been one of my favorites. Take that out of the equation, we made what I think is a really true, honest, and a really strong record. It reminds me of one of those albums I would have had back when I had a turntable when I was a teenager, a young kid, getting into music, and I was into all those rock bands like Scorpions and Sabbath and Iron Maiden. This reminds me of one of those records I would have had in my collection, which is great. That's a cool achievement, and I think the songs are really strong. I'm very happy with it. The plan was to release the record in March, which we're doing, and then tour in April. But obviously with COVID, we're not allowed to tour. So that's what I was making that point earlier when you asked me about, how 2020 and the pandemic affected us. But once we're allowed to tour, and we don't know when that's going to be, but
okay,
let's say 6 or 7 months from now, if they say, okay, you guys can go tour, then we're going to go as many places as we can. Now, for me, South America has always been one of my favorite places to play, and especially Colombia. I was just down in Colombia recently, in the last year or so. Before COVID, I was down there, and we had a great time there. So I'd like to come down there and play. It's a matter of when they say it's safe to do it. People got to get the vaccine and all that stuff, and then once everybody's in order, then we can come play. But the good news is I still have my records are out there. I can go out and play my songs and do what I do. So it's all good stuff, and got to be happy for what you got, what you've done, right?
Yes, you're right. Well, going back to the album, Running is the new single that you are presenting, right?
That's the latest, right? That's the latest one.
Okay. Well, Smith Kotzen, 9 new songs. This is the amazing Richie Kotzen here at Estereofonica. Richie, what's a real pleasure talking to you. Thank you for being with us. Hope to see you soon in our country.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, and thank you for your interest in the record, and stay safe.